Welcome back. Welcome back to our latest episode of Mindful Matters podcast. We are now at episode 12, which it's already beginning to sound like we have been doing something with a little bit of consistency. It seems like we had enough of the right goals in our mind to come together, Richard, here and continue producing these messages for you that we very much hope are going to be very helpful for all of you. And welcome back. It's so good to have you. I'm Oresztesz, one of your co-hosts. It is lovely to have you on this podcast. Please make sure that you check out Less Anxiety Today, the YouTube channel, and of course, the website. I would love to see you there. And of course, I am here with my co-host, Richard Haggerty, coach of coaches, a fantastic coach, kind-hearted, great dad, a fantastic friend, and always a lovely co-host to have here on the podcast. Richard.
Thank you, Oresztesz. Well, it's wonderful, and I am really thrilled to be here. Look, and I just want to echo what Oresztesz said. Please let us know if you're in, all the things you're enjoying here. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up below in the video. Please do ask us any questions, and you can find the details to get in contact with me as well. I do a daily email, which I send out to inspire coaches, therapists, knowledge workers, professionals all around the world. And, what we want to do is help you to be more efficient, more effective, more happier, not just happier, but to focus more of what you already can do on those things that have most meaning for you. And I know you have a kind of a sense, Oresztesz, because I guess there's something that's going to be happening in a few days, if memory serves me right. Something, a transition, some kind of annual transition.
Isn't that interesting? It's I just realized that usually when I talk about time, I have a sense that I put the past here, present here, and the future here. But what I also realize is my future seems to be a little bit more blurry than my present and my past. Let me see if this helps. Ta-da! Now it's so much clearer.
Hey, Oresztesz, that is like the best thing. I've never seen anyone do that with their unconscious mind, and I think our listeners will do well to follow along today with that kind of magic.
I did not set this up, but oh my goodness, that my unconscious was just like, hey, this side it's a little bit blurry. Apparently I grabbed the camera. So yes, we are looking forward to the new year, which is it's very interesting how we give all this extra significance to the numbers. It's basically just going to be another day for some of us in the middle of winter, for others the summer. If you're like the Australians who are always upside down. So I completely agree. But it is important because symbolic meaning is something that is of importance, and the new year has always been associated with new beginnings and new ways in which we want to focus. So let's look today at the ideas of how to do it right, how to set those new goals that you want to go towards, that you want to make real, that you want to create, the changes, the new directions, the positive things that you want to have happen in your life. Let's see what is the best way to set your mind towards those ideas so that they remain with you, they accompany you, they empower you, they inspire you to take the action that you're going to need to take every day to actually make it there.
Yes, beautiful, Oresztesz. And I think there's some real power in that. And I think that your metaphor, your unconscious metaphor of clearing that blur is really what it's about. I was speaking with somebody recently who said, I'm so busy firefighting things day to day. I can't even think ahead to a holiday or plan anything, a week down the road, because I've got so much, I've just got to get through today. And we've all had days like that. And I think this, one of the most important parts about this transition, this symbolic transition into the new year, is I like to think of it as a reset. Okay, on one level, it's a reset. You know, you can archive everything, including your thoughts, feelings, worries, concerns, and old goals, and start from a place of asking, what is it that I want to create? But there's one thing I would add to that, which is what we talked about on the previous podcast, which is just start from success. Start from the points of satisfaction and fulfillment. And I think that's going to be a really important part of this. We'll look at how to set some goals, how many to pick, how to evolve them, and all that. But the key thing is to, as you even begin this process, start from a place of feeling good. All right. It's no good to start writing things down through which you have no emotional connection to because you think you should have them. Far better to take as long as you need. So we talked last time there about looking at 10 high points, 10 peak experiences, 10 moments of satisfaction from this year and what connected them. I went back 6 years and did this, Oresztesz, so I have a whole bunch of these. And the beauty of looking at that, and then actually I went back a little bit further, but the beauty of looking back at this is I can say, well, look, what were the moments of greatest satisfaction? How have they shaped how I think about myself? And how have they caused me to change? Now, what we're leaning towards here is what we'll get to a little bit later on in this process, but it's the best form of us. You know, who am I when I am at my best? So when you are at your best, you are a bit like, and we can bring ourselves, now a coach can obviously help you through this process, but that's really where we want to start. And I cannot overemphasize that because there are many goal setting systems. Many of us have had goals for our life, and we've been told to have goals. But unless we start from a place of feeling connection, of competence, where we feel at least inspired and able, then we are unlikely to bring anything other than that energy to the process. So the first thing is feel good inside. Nurture the gratitude for what's already working, and then we can build on that.
Absolutely, and that is just so much one of the themes that we are going to continue coming back to, I believe, because it's worth coming back to it, because the more you understand this, the more success you are creating in your own life through understanding that you need to build on the things that you have. You cannot wish to build a castle on air. You need to grow whatever foundation you have, make it bigger, make it stronger, and then you can put the castle on top of it. But you cannot wish yourself that castle in the air. You cannot beat yourself for not having made it all the way there if you haven't made sure that there is a point that connects you all the way to when that thing is ready. And there is something interesting that you mentioned about your friend, and I think it's worth taking a second just to examine that, because we might be having some of our listeners already thinking a little bit like your friend. It's like, my life is too chaotic. There are so many fires I need to put out. There's so many things I need to take care of currently that I don't really have time to sit down and fantasize about the future and make a plan. I don't even know how it's going to work out. Now, the thing is that if you plan for what's coming, or if you don't plan for what's coming, it doesn't really matter, because it's going to arrive. That future is going to come. It is heading your way.
Yep.
So if you don't plan for that future, you are planning for that future to be chaotic. You're planning for that future to be at the mercy of luck. If you plan for the future, then you can at least improve your chances. You can load the dice, you can stack the deck, you can make sure that, of course, luck is going to continue to be involved. or at least such complex systems that you cannot possibly prepare for every possible outcome. But yes, that thing is coming, whatever it is. If it's retirement, if it's a trip, if it's a change that's coming, if it's a move, whatever it is coming your way. So if you plan for it, awesome. If you don't plan for it, that's also planning, but a different kind and not that efficient. So I understand, of course, I understand your friend. There are many changes that currently require attention. But yes, it is a good idea to make sure that you also, in some of that downtime that we all have at some point, you look for the nicer things, and it actually feels good. It should feel empowering. It shouldn't be a chore. It shouldn't be stressful. It shouldn't be trying to figure out how exactly the future is going to look like, because that is something, if you do this the wrong way, then it's going to be stressful and it's going to be difficult.
Yep.
When you do it the way that Richard recommends, then you are looking forward to something positive. You don't have to exactly know every single step. Of course, if you can identify some and you know that those are going to work, that is awesome. But where you want to start from is that positive feeling, the feeling of desire. I want this. This is important for me. Having my family doing well, in enjoying something very specific, that is something important for me, and just focus on that as your beginning.
Yeah, agreed. And I think it's a beautiful way to do that, the step one, because when you start with success, like your moments of satisfaction, what's working well for you, what feels good for you, then you can kind of bathe in the kind of person you are when you're being like that. And really, what most of us want is, we've had moments where things have gone quite well for us or gone really well. It's just that we would like more of that. So when you start off like that, it's a really useful kind of, it makes your life a lot easier, because you can say, oh, I've done this. Okay, I want to write a book. Well, I write daily emails to people. So all I need to do is organize and structure my time a little bit more and do a little bit more of that, and maybe write some longer articles, and now I can start moving in that direction. So we're going to take what's already working and we're going to move with that. The key is, the underlying process needs to be one where we're nurturing a sense of competence, a sense of feeling good about ourselves, and I think a sense of wonder and awe, a sense of curiosity and possibility. Okay. And this is really important. If we're going to start off from a sense of feeling good and competent, then we want to feel good throughout the process. So the number one thing you can do, I think, when you're starting to decide about your goals is, first of all, we know to feel good from what's already working. But start to, as you think about the things that you start putting out there or on a list, it's really important that in some way, shape, or form, you feel good about them. All right. And you start to feel some of that feeling now, so that you can capture it and use it as part of the process of moving forward. Okay. So what we want to do, the absolute ideal, is that we feel so good in our contemplation of what's working, we expand that and decide that we would like more of that. And we have some sort of some kind of signposts along the way, but that we feel more of that each day. And then we'll become more of that as we start to move in that direction. So we can start to build up some specific outcomes, but we're looking at the most important part being reinforcing what's already working in us and the ongoing process day to day. And if we do that, we're much, much more likely to stay connected to what has meaning. We're much more likely to nurture our relationships and build relationships, including the relationship with ourselves.
Absolutely. Yes. Now, again, a little addition here. You hear us talk a lot about making sure that you're feeling good. And that is very, very, very important. When you are shooting for a goal, it should definitely include feeling good. It is something that is very important. You want to make sure that the goal that you're projecting, it definitely includes either the away from motivation, in the sense of something definitely not happening, and you feel safe. So you feel safe, you feel protected, there is a lack of fear, there is security in knowing that your kids are not drug addicts, I don't know, on a street selling themselves. You know that, if this is how you define things, that's okay, that's fine, right? It doesn't always have to be just happy clappy, feeling great, but at least it has to either a negative motivation, it has to include that, just like in saying, okay, I am definitely away from that thing. That is not part of my life, and that makes me feel safe. Or I'm really enjoying this very nice moment with my loved ones, this vacation, or this sense of safety. You can even just imagine yourself being in your office, looking through let's say your bank statement that reflects all the good that you have done for others, that you have served others so many times that they were happy to pay you money for all that help and positive contribution to their lives, that you just look at your bank statement and it says, hey, nice, I'm feeling like, okay, I am contributing. But make sure that it's the meaning, that it's not just the numbers. You're not doing this only for the money. It's how you generate that money. You're generating that by serving, by helping, by contributing to others. Or you just get to really enjoy a moment with your family, with your loved ones, or by yourself, or however you want to create that. So the good feeling is really, really positive. Now, what I want to add on top of that is to make sure that you don't think that you have to feel good all the time when you're getting there. Like, there may very well be things that are holding you back, and you want to be accepting and aware of that. Because if you're creating these beautiful goals that ignore your current situation, then you might be creating the basis for a lot of internal stress that is going to feel like, well, hey, you're ignoring all of these things that are holding you back. So you want to definitely add into the goal setting, feel awesome. In the process, in beginning to imagine, okay, how am I going to get there? It involves another very important concept, and that is acceptance. Accept how you are right now. Accept, if you're listening to this, you probably have a little bit of anxiety along these ways. You probably have a little bit of fear, or a lot of it. You have probably procrastinated. Otherwise, you wouldn't be looking for the kind of information how we are trying to help our listeners. So make sure that you are kind to yourself in that process, that you just take that into account, understand that some of the journey, it's not going to feel comfortable all the time. It's not going to feel so great every single step of the way. It might require you, I don't know, to go to the gym. If that goal of you in the future is very healthy, radiant, feeling good and energized, some of that will include things that are not already part of your daily routine, which means that at first you're not going to feel great. It's not going to feel natural. So make sure that you accept that part. Accept where you're starting out from, and be kind to who you are that is not there yet, that is starting out.
Very nice. Very well put, Oresztesz. And I think that kind of starting from that place of self-acceptance and appreciation, a deep appreciation, is really the way to go. Absolutely. I think it's very useful to identify blocks. Now we can look at that. We can certainly look at that as part of the process, because I think it's really useful in terms of anticipating some things that are going to come up. But just realize that the big picture is there will be good days, there will be days that are not so great. Okay, there will be moments where your health and energy levels are higher, and there'll be moments when lots of things come at you. That's why the kind of good that it's useful to take a moment to think about, and we'll talk about the numbers of goals that you might want to sort of put in mind, is really to start with the outcome of the outcome. All right. Now, when you do this, it's a really nice way to be very, very clear that you're headed in the direction you want to be. All right. And it can even be like when you thought of like your list of goals and you think, well, at the end of the year, how will I be feeling? How will I be having these? Oh, I'll be feeling more confident. I'll be having more conversations with people. I'll be looking at my bank statement and that will be really solid. I'll be feeling this glow of calmness and confidence inside. It's really worthwhile doing that. Now, one of my mentors has a really interesting way of doing things. And when he thinks about goals, the basic idea is, okay, let's say it's you have a health concern, like you have a knee problem, okay? He prefers not to focus on the knee being healthy, which is one way you could do that. What he likes to do is he likes to go a step further. So what could you be doing when your knee's healthy again? So for him, for instance, it could be playing tennis, could be going for a nice long walk. Now, this is a really nice way, as long as you set things up right. And of course, if you have any health things, you can speak to the appropriate person, have the appropriate medical support with that. But this is a very, very useful way to make sure that you're really clear that what you put your time and effort into has a real payback to you, has real value for you, that the ends that you seek to have make you they should be that meaningful inside that there's a kind of intrinsic motivation to them. And if you start with that, which is why we've taken time to reflect on both that sense of acceptance and appreciation for what is working, now you can start to ask, well, what kinds of things would I like more of? And each of those, it is worth you going a little bit further in your thinking. When I have this, how will I be feeling? Right? And you can start to feel that now. And as I'm feeling that, when I have this, what could I be doing? That's different. And that is a really nice, those kind of thought experiments are something that you can do in to take time to do. And it will really serve you well, because this is the choice to design your life and impact the people around you who you care about in the way that's most meaningful for you. So it's really worth taking a little bit of time just to design that and to make the bit of difference that you can in the world in a way that feels right to you.
So let's say we were to spell this out specifically, just as a step-by-step process for creating the goals for our listeners, for ourselves. So step one would be, think about the outcome that you want.
Yep.
In that step, include all of the things that are required to make sure that you are enjoying it. And to bring it all together, it can be a negative motivation, like away from, like the knee pain that Richard mentioned, but make sure that it is represented in a way that allows you to do things that you are enjoying. It can just be the fact that you're enjoying how good you're feeling, or you're actually engaging with something that becomes natural when that problem is solved. Yep. So think about something like that. Make sure that there is an emotional connection, that you're actually enjoying it, and bring in lots of details.
Yes.
Lots of details into that. Make it as specific. If you're playing tennis, actually imagine that playing the tennis. that match. Imagine who you're playing with. Imagine what day of the what time of day it is. Is it inside? Is it outside?
Beautiful.
What kind of a grip does your tennis racket have? How does it feel? Sense the air on your skin. Imagine, create the details of that moment. And if you're doing this right, you will notice the emotional intensity that you got in the beginning. It will increase. The more details you create, the more real you are making this for your internally driving mind. For the mind, the part of you that when just imagine this. If let's say you are having I forgot the word for this, like you have a craving. Yeah. Once you have a craving for something, it is very specific. Even if you don't really think about it, you can almost taste the thing in your mouth. You can almost smell that thing that you have a craving for. It is a very emotionally and internally rich symbolic representation of what you want. And in fact, the stronger it is, the stronger you can smell it, the stronger you can imagine the taste, the more you are going to find yourself doing the things that require you to make that thing real. This is an extremely powerful way in which you can get yourself motivated. So make sure, imagine the thing, make sure there is an emotional connection, and then add details.
I really like that, Oresztesz, and I think that step of making it specific is really going to be key. Okay, so there is a challenge that a lot of people run into. They might say, I want more money, I want to run a business, I want a relationship. And these are just very high level abstract words. There's no concrete representation with them. Okay, so it's really worthwhile you taking time. If you say, well, I want a relationship, a friend of mine a while back said, oh, I want a relationship. And in fact, I've been saying this for about 20 years. And so we had a chat. I said, well, what kind of relationship? Do you know? I mean, I don't know. Do you want it with a man? Do you want it with a woman? What kind? Is it a business relationship? So no, I want an intimate relationship. Okay, well, what kind of intimate relationship? How will you know that you have that? And now it's really interesting because he's met someone. The moment that you get specific, and the kind of specificity that we're talking about is simply thinking about what you might be seeing, just with the 5 basic senses. Yeah, what you might see, what you might be hearing, what you might be feeling, what you might taste or smell. And I think actually the craving analogy can be useful up to a point, because your outcomes for the year should be kind of a little bit like cravings, like the best kind of craving, like when you've worked out hard, you've met your goals, maybe you've done some exercise or whatever, and you're going to have a treat for the week or a treat for the day. Okay, and sometimes having a little reward is nice, and a little, I just want a little something of this. That's how it should feel. It should be a nice feeling that kind of ultimately that pulls you towards it. And absolutely, very often the initial kickstart can be something that's not so positive. But once you take that and you transform it from, okay, I want more money. Well, okay, well, $1, 10 pesos, how much? And how would you like that to come to you? And once you start to think about that, once you start to make that more concrete, that's when a lot of the magic starts to happen for people. All right, really simple example, Oresztesz. We our old car started, we realized that it needed replacing, and and we started looking around. It wasn't really just getting, it's just, there were so many things going on, I was busy, it's like, and then it was starting to stop at, like, whilst you were driving along. We're like, right, okay, and we knew, okay, this is really good, worked really well, I want more of this, I want the same car, but it's going to have a few more modern things, and it's going to be working really well. And within a couple of days, actually, my wife found it, she scoured it, we found one within an hour away, we were able to drive over, test drive it, get the paperwork sorted, within a couple of days and get it done. So it's okay to move quite quickly. It's okay to have the initial trigger a little bit challenging, but fundamentally what you want to move towards, it's got to be very, very clear. And if you think about it, whether it's buying a house, whether you think about booking a holiday, whether you think about buying a bicycle or getting somebody a present, or attending a training or producing some piece of work, there's a certain point where it becomes very, very crystal clear, and at that point it's a lot easier for you, when it has meaning and it's important for you, to invest some of your valuable time and effort into this. And really, the idea of taking time now is that your life is really valuable. Every day, every moment is precious, and you can't get that back. And those of us who are kind of like 10 years older than we were 10 years ago, we know that. We're not the people we were 10 years ago. We cannot get that time back. So we might as well take some time to decide what's really most important and most valuable. And then we can channel more of our effort into that and make it as clear and focused as possible.
Absolutely. So to sum things up, make sure that you set your goal, make sure there is an emotional connection, add details so that they become real and empowered and even more powerful. And then accept where you are starting from. Be kind to yourself in understanding where you're starting from. And then all of the rest is going to kind of sort itself out for you. Once you come back to this image that you enjoy, that there is an emotional connection to it, it has details. And by the way, don't worry about the details. If you find something that has the essence of that and you want to switch up some of the details, that car is actually a different color, that's fine, because you're not buying that car because of the color. You're buying that car because you don't want that to cause you all these problems that the old ones is giving you. Trust your internal driving mind. It's very wise, it's very intelligent. But the motivation is going to recognize it. This is close enough to what I want so that it actually gives me the higher level meaning behind this. And you will recognize the opportunities. You will find yourself motivated as long as you keep understanding that if it's a change that you want, if your goal is not just living your life exactly how you lived last year, then it's going to require a little bit of discomfort. It's going to feel a bit of a challenge, and you get to pace yourself through that. But if you create the goal that you enjoy, you're connected to it, you're interested in it, you see yourself enjoying that more than how you are currently, you create the details and you understand where you're starting from, you are going to do great. You will find the right moments and the right ways in which to express that goal on your path towards it. And I wish that you have a really, really successful job of going there. Make sure that as you're getting there, you keep coming back to see us. If you have any struggles with that process, make sure that you leave us some comments. I would love to see what are the things that are holding you back, what are the things that are working. Those are really nice to see. We started to have some really nice comments as well here and there. Those are lovely. And I just, we are going to continue to accompany you. So if anything begins to break down, middle of February, end of January, if those big goals you set are beginning to, fall apart, come back, leave us a comment, and we'll figure out what are the things that are going to make this thing work even better, or because this process works, what you need specifically to make sure that it works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's lovely. And the only thing I would just iterate really is that this works, all right? And for myself, I like to pick 5 main goals initially, 5 main things I want to focus on, so I can take a bit of time to get very specific, about that, like a family holiday, some time with some specific friends and some activities, a book I want to write. So keep it smaller. initially. Now you can expand it later on, okay? But you want to go through this process and really take time with that, because once you have a smaller number, it's much easier for you to go through this. You can take all the time you need to focus on this. And here's a little thing, a little tip, okay? Treat all of your goals as equal, all right? This way, you can enjoy a consistent sense of satisfaction and experience some balance across the board, all right? So you won't get to, and this is important because it's very easy to go to the other side where there is too much focus on one area and a kind of a blinkered kind of mindset, like the person who's driving down the road with that kind of tunnel view. And that's not what we're advocating here. We're advocating, which I think you've done a really good job of articulating now, is that we're looking at the quality of experience that we're going to be having, okay? And outcomes, goals, this process is really what we're saying is, what kinds of experiences have I been having that are deeply satisfying to me and people around me? What kinds of experiences would I like to have more of? And who will I be becoming more of when I'm having those experiences? And the outcomes are really just kind of like little signposts. They're like they're not the actual journey, but they are the stops. They're like on the train, they're the stations, so that you know that you're kind of heading in the right direction. And you know, one way that you can know you're heading that direction is by coming and joining us, hanging out with us when it's comfortable, when it's convenient. We're here. We're very happy to have comments, feedback. We're happy to help you out any way we can. We can be contacted individually or on the Less Anxiety Today channel. And I just want to say, you know, from over here in the UK, very, very wonderful end of the year. Very happy New Year to you. It's a real honor to be here with you, Oresztesz, as well, and to reach and connect with our listeners in this way.
Thank you, Richard. Absolutely. Very happy and successful New Year. I hope we would have the opportunity to continue to accompany you along the way here on the channel with Mindful Matters podcast, or directly and individually. I hope you have a fantastic next year, and see you on the next episode. Take care, everyone.